Hello, world. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is the Rex Arthur Show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ perspective and an LGBTQ approach and a humanistic approach in an LGBTQ plus planet. And today we are still in the first week of the year 2019. I'm happy to see you, and I hope you're happy to see me. Also, we made it. Of course, some people didn't make it. That's life. Every day, some people are born and some people die. So that's life. And these days, I've changed my philosophy on death. I believe death is just leaving the planet. I'm now very more casual about death. I I think I'm removing the sting. Death has a sting, as Paul said, and I've removed that sting in the sense that when someone dies, he's just left the planet, and there are very many ways of dying, and so that's life. You have to understand it. Of course, it's painful to lose a loved one, and yeah, but we just have to. That's what life is all about. As I've told you, you can die in very many ways. Look at the earthquakes that have happened. Look what happened in Indonesia. Look at Philippines. How many people have died this week? And it's because of weather. Weather. You didn't even plan to die. Nobody planned. It happened. So that's how. That's we live in a world whereby we are not in control. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're not in control of your life. You are in control of a very small part of your life. So just live on and be happy when you're able to see another day. Yeah. But know at the back of your mind, you're not in control of everything that happens to you. And one of them includes life. Because anything can happen. An earthquake can happen right now where I am. And I die. Yeah. Simple. So that's life. Okay, let's get back to business. And the business today is the power, the biological power of LGBTQ parents. It is This is a scientific philosophical video because it came about when I was thinking about LGBTQ parents. And it's like I had a eureka moment. And what I was thinking about, I remember posting pictures about bonobo, uh, our chimpanzee, LGBTQ chimpanzees. And, and then I read another article whereby there was a guy discussing with a lady about the LGBTQ species. And she was so angry with him. And I could read also the anger of the scientist, the man he was using a lot of evidence. And I told myself, what is wrong with the lady? This man is telling her that there are 1,500 species where homosexuality has been proven to exist and she can't see it. I was like, there's something wrong with this lady. And at the same breath, a friend of mine posted that homophobia and transphobia should be mental disorders. And I said, yes, yes, they should call homophobia and transphobia mental disorders. Reason being, you've brought evidence. Homosexuality is real, it's natural. And the person still doesn't believe. There is something wrong with them. Absolutely wrong with them. Yes, mentally, they have a mental disorder. Claustrophobia and all of this agoraphobia, these are mental disorders. Yes, they are minor mental disorders. And reason being, naturally, a human should not fear people. Yes, a normal human being should not fear walking where people are. But when you find a human being who fears walking where people are, he has a phobia. And that person there's something disturbing him in his mind. That's why it's called a mental disorder. You see? So you have to really understand that you have to really understand that not all humans behave like you. That's why diversity is the principle. Without diversity, we'd never know who is sick. Do you know how we know they are blind people? They don't see like us. They can't see. And then in some blind people, they have glaucoma. Others, the eyelids are shut. Others are short-sighted. Others are long-sighted. So we are all in a spectrum of everything. Everything, even the size of the nose. Some people's noses are flat. They are flat-nosed people. Then it increases, becomes long. That's a spectrum. It's like the rainbow. That's why it is a rainbow world. Never forget that. We are all, each of us belongs to a color in the rainbow on everything, even the color of eyes. Some eyes are black, some eyes are blue, some eyes are green, some eyes are red. So that's a spectrum, and you belong there. Voices, have some people speak with a low voice, medium voice, and then a high voice. That's a spectrum. All of those spectrums. So we are all spectral. We are rainbows, you know, and it's a rainbow world. Every area, they are poor, they are rich people, they are stinking rich people, they are stinking poor people. All of that is a spectrum. It's a rainbow because you can classify everybody. That's the world we're in. And I was telling somebody, that's the capitalist system. That is the ancient Egyptian system, because the ancient Egyptian system of the pyramid, you know, it has how many layers? A pyramid does not have one layer. It is many layers. So that's a spectrum. It's a spectrum of bricks, and a very beautiful one for that matter. And I was telling them, the way you have the Indian system, the caste system, and the ancient Egyptian pyramid, it's the same as the capitalist system that we are in. There are very rich people and there are few, and there are very few poor people and there are many. That's how it is. And until you change that system, it's very hard to change it. Yes, to make a uniform system, it's very hard, because it's a fact. We are not the same. That's it. That's the reality. It's not a sad reality, neither is a happy reality. It's the reality that we are different, we are diverse. So, so I was saying that, imagine you give this man, he painstakingly gave this lady evidence and she couldn't see. I just said, this lady is so confused by religion. You know, the problem of religion, it is a science. Religion is a science, yes. It's a form of intellectualism. And it's a very easy intellectualism that many people can acquire. And it replaces hard intellectualism, like science. It's very hard intellectualism. Like what we're going to discuss right now, it's not going to be easy. But those who understand will understand. So what does this mean? When you bring somebody another form of intellectualism, they are not able to understand because they have another form called religion. So they are blind to the reality. You see, and the religious system is not the scientific system, sadly. Or the religion you have, there are some religions which are not wired to accept science. There are some religions that are wired to accept science. Yes. And that is how the non-Western religions were. You know, in Africa, the witch doctor was the scientist. He knew when it was going to rain. He knew who was sick. He knew what to do. He knew the problem. He knew which herbs to give you. That was the system. They did not separate religion from science. It was one thing. So if he had little science, then he was not a strong witch doctor. But if he had a lot of science, then he was a very strong witch doctor. But in the West, what happened is the religion part was separated from the science part, because the religion they acquired, that's Christianity, focuses more on rituals. than facts. You know, a ritual, you don't need, even I've just been thinking to myself about religion. You don't need faith to be religious. This thing that you must have faith in God, it's not there. Because you can do a ritual. You just tell people, close your hands. That is faith. Yeah. If you go and do this, yeah, then you have faith. And so but it's a ritual you're doing. Yeah, it's a ritual. So an atheist can even do this. So how will you say he's an atheist? You see? So the whole faith movement is a movement of confession. You are supposed to say that I am a Christian. The moment you say that, then somebody says, yes, you're a Christian because you said it. Not because you did a ritual, you said it. And that is, we'll talk about that in theology. There are different types of salvations. There is confessing with your mouth that you are saved. Then there's one you don't even need to confess, you just do things. You take Holy Communion, you do this. Like deaf people, can they confess with their mouth? They can't. I mean, dumb people, even deaf, can they confess with their mouth that Jesus is Lord? They can't. So does that mean they're not saved? You see? So the things people need to ask themselves. They never ask themselves those questions. Anyway, um, back to what we're discussing. We won't take time. The biological power of. So I was talking about that lady who could not understand. So why am I bringing the natural homosexuality in animals? Is to show you that animals, what sin did animals commit to become gay? Those 1,500 species. What sin? They didn't commit a sin. The Bible is very clear. It was only humans who committed a sin. And it was only humans who were punished. Now, how did these animals become homosexual? Because of the sin of humans. You see, it doesn't make sense. So, what does this mean? Homosexuality is natural because it's found in animals. And what that woman was supposed to do, she was supposed to go and see those animals and for herself. And that's why I posted the lesbian bonobos on my Facebook to show people, look at these two female chimpanzees having sex. Look at these two male chimpanzees having sex. As simple as that. Go and see with your own two eyes. Even dogs, hyenas are even worse. They do it and they are not ashamed. No, the beauty of animals, they are not ashamed. Do you know animals are still naked? They don't wear clothes. It's only humans who are wearing clothes. Animals are still naked. Your cow you have is naked. Don't be deceived that your cow is wearing clothes because it has skin. No, it's naked. Don't you see the teeth hanging? Look at your dog. The genitalia just is out. Doesn't care. That's how animals are. And that's how humans used to be. Yes. Until we brought order and laws to make us now understand that nakedness should not be shown. Yes. That's. Do you know there are even tribes in Ethiopia and Sudan, they still walk naked. They don't have a problem. Yeah. It's that they're just there. And there are very nice stories about the time when the whites came to Africa. And some of these tribes that were naked, they said, we don't wear clothes. Wearing clothes is feminine. Yes, it's for feminine people. Feminine people wear clothes. Yeah. And then they were declaring their masculinity. Anyway, so what am I trying to say? Now, if they are lesbian and it has been found they are lesbian chimpanzees, now something hit my head. Eureka moment. This means that they are lesbian or the gay, sexual attraction is natural because erection is happening, the energy is happening, so all of these things are happening. It's beautiful. Then I asked myself, what is it that a female has and she gives her children? Then I realized it is mitochondria. What is mitochondria? Mitochondria is the organelle, that is a small organ in the cell, because we are made up of cells. These are skin cells, saliva is full of cells. So it is a small organ that energizes your cells. Even your blood is filled with cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, anything. Even sperms are cells, and the egg is a cell, the female egg. Now, every cell has mitochondria. Mitochondria is like the fuel, is the energy of the cell, and it comes from your mother. Whether you're a man or a woman, or in between, you have mitochondria that comes from your mother. However, studies have been done and have shown that there are some humans who also have mitochondria from their father. And they are still trying to understand, how did these humans get the mitochondria of their father? Because sperms have mitochondria. But what science is still trying to understand, what happens when fertilization takes place? What happens to the father's mitochondria? Why is it that it just disappears? Because it disappears. It's not there. You don't get the mitochondria from your father's mother, or your father's mitochondria does not come to you. You only get the mother's mitochondria. One thing I can say, it's my assumption, which I don't like assuming because science is not for assumption. The egg cell is bigger than the sperm cell. So it's of course, it is a fact that the mitochondria of the mother will overtake and overturn the mitochondria of the father that is found in the sperm cell. Because when the sperm hits the egg, it forms another life form called a zygote. So this zygote, because the egg cell is bigger than the sperm, the zygote will be mostly made up of the mother and rather than the sperm. That's the reality about life and fertilization. Now, of course, there are very many strong scientific theories as to why people can have gay children. One of them, which is proven, is estrogen flashes that can happen when the mother is expectant, and sometimes when she's put into stress, she releases too much estrogen, and this estrogen can feminize the fetus or make the child very feminine. So that's why you find some boys tend to be feminine and they tend to have feminine character traits because of they had a lot of estrogen flashes when they were in the womb because the mother was stressed and other things like that. But now, the other thing I'm now thinking about was the mitochondria. That if you find a lesbian chimpanzee, and remember I said this is a scientific philosophical video, a lesbian chimpanzee, let that sink into your head. And then this lesbian chimpanzee has children. That, and her lesbianism is in the cells. It is in her DNA. You know, not all chimpanzees are lesbian.